Well, hello everyone. Welcome to me, Tina here. How's everyone's doing? Oh my God, I am finally back on my interview here. Some of you guys probably noticed that I haven't been around, or I haven't been uploading my English speaking videos on my all my interviews with all my guest speakers and my teachers. So anyway, the reason is that, my I wasn't allowed to upload for a while, but for some reason now I'm able to upload and talk about it. So anyway, I'm just so happy to, bring back Laurie Johnson. She's going to be talking about the energy of this year. So let's welcome Laurie. Laurie, how have you been?
I've been great. I mean, I survived. This is kind of like 2022 was the year that you survive. Well, 2020, 2021, 2022, the year that you survive.
Right.
So I kind of knew how things were going to be over the holidays, and I kept everything quiet and just very, like very encapsulated. So going into this year, it makes it easier because
Right.
it's still, we're still not in the new year energy though. I mean, we're at, the beginning of January. We're still, what is it, on January, in the first 10 days of the year, and we still haven't hit the new energy, which is the biggest problem that I've seen so far, or that I knew that was going to happen, is that the wrap over energy from last year, when
Mm,
we had well, we still are in Mars retrograde, Mercury retrograde, with the karmic push that was hitting us for so hard, that energy doesn't end until almost the end of this month, until the end of January. So when we get into the brand new year, people are thinking, brand new year, this is going to be great. We're going to have a new beginning on January 1st, but the energy doesn't change. So they get frustrated, whether they do resolutions or they just think new year, new energy, this is going to feel really good. They get frustrated because nothing changes, and they're thinking brand new, and it's like they feel defeated before they even start anything, and it makes it really, really, really hard. So I
right.
kind of knew that was coming, and I've just been flying under the radar, but that's what I've been doing for the last couple of years, and it just made me sane, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's good though. Well, you know what it is too, because we have been programmed that beginning of every year is always new energy and everything is new.
Yeah.
But it's not like that, from what I got also, even have a conversation with several people, they have been picking up very much similar energy of this coming year as well as that, especially with the Pluto return and the Saturn and all so many planets that's, just right above us. So
Yeah.
what would you say was going to happen to the humanity, Laurie? What's going to happen to you? You feel like there's a lot of people felt like there's the energy of the war is still going on between different country around the world, and it might get worse. Even the energy of you know what happened in 2020 may even come around, and I've been observing that in China too. So there's a
Yeah.
possibility of that could happen as well, right?
Yeah, no. This is a gateway year. This is a groundbreaking year. We haven't had anything like this ever. And they say,
Mm,
okay, we have an astrology thing that's going on. We haven't had astrology like this for 300 years. We haven't had astrology like this for 300 years. That includes 2,000 years of change and 26,000 years of change.
mm,
So there's a lot of change that's already going on, that's layered and layered and layered and layered. But this year we have a major event. The major event of the year is on March 23rd, which is Pluto moves into Aquarius. This
mm.
is the big thing that sets us up until 2024. So it's a big journey, and it starts in a relatively soon period of time. But before we get there, we're doing some cleanup. And the new energy does not start until we get onto the Chinese New Year, because
Mm.
even though, there was a Pope that decided, Pope Gregory decided he's going to create a new calendar. The problem is that calendar doesn't have anything to do with natural rhythms. It doesn't have to do with the earth, with the moon, with our solar system, with our natural circadian rhythms. It doesn't have anything to do with any of it. So it's a very Piscean age male dominated. It's going to be this many days per year. And that doesn't fit. So we got to do leap year because they don't even have the rhythm of it right. So when we get into energy shift, the energy always shifts on the Chinese New Year. It shifts
Yeah.
again on the Jewish New Year at the end of the year, more,
Mm.
like September, October. But this is where we start new energy. 2023 energy doesn't start until the Chinese New Year. In this case, we've got the new moon that starts that, is going to be on Saturday, the 21st of January. And then the Chinese New Year, the year of the water rabbit, is going to be on Sunday, January 22nd. That's when we can actually feel an energy shift. We will feel it. We're getting more and more and more sensitive in our bodies because the Aquarian age is bringing that. And this is going to be that first year where it really is. From March on, we're like Aquarian all the time. Forget the Piscean age stuff. But that also means that when we get into that, over the next 2,000 years, our bodies are going to shift into being less physically dense, more spiritual, more energetic, more based on vibration. We've been doing that for a while, but we're going to really leap into that now. So that when the energy shifts, when we have, we have several major energy shifts going on this year, but when that happens, we will feel it. I mean, you might feel lighter, you might feel happier when you haven't before, you might feel a weight is lifted off. All of that stuff is going to come through. But the first shift that we've got is into the 2023 energy, which is on January 22nd, year of the water rabbit. And the water rabbit brings in vigilance. It brings in actually good luck. It's a very fortuitous year. It brings
I'm a rabbit, actually.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm a rabbit.
It's supposed to be good for me. So rabbit can be, from what I understand with Chinese astrology, if it is your year, it can be challenging because it's like it comes full circle and then you got to face all your karma.
Right.
But the biggest thing here is like when we shift energy, what we're doing right now in surviving January, this is how it's going to be, how we look at things, because we're still going to have challenges. I mean, we get to the new year energy and it's going to be, everything is wonderful. No, not everything is wonderful. We're living on a planet where there is so much chaos, where there is so much transformation that is going on. And some people are like leaping into the transformation. This is great. I love it. And other people are going, wait a minute, I hate this and I hate you and I hate everything and I hate my life and I'm going to make sure everybody pays for it, which is where we get all the people that are doing, the mass shootings, or was just reading about the killings in Idaho in the college with the machete. So we're talking that how you deal with what's going on this year means more than any other year. Because the challenges are still going to be there to a certain extent, meaning challenges for people who are staying stuck, who are saying, it's got to be my way. I got to be in charge of everything. This is my timing. This is my life. And it's got to be my way. And they're going to do that with money. That's just really wrong this year. That's a whole other story. Get there in a minute.
Oh, boy, yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting year with money. But the point is, if you try to control the year is going to roll right over you and it isn't going to care. If you go with the flow of the year, then this year is going to be a really good year, because what we did last year was, okay, we ended COVID, but we didn't, but it was different. Okay. So different. And then we get the cocktail of, every other disease that's around that's going to infect us, because they're on that control mechanism that we need to be in fear. That's the bigger picture here. And I'm not saying that there aren't diseases or there aren't viruses that are going around, but the fear factor is what people are pushing, because if people are in fear, then they're easily controlled. Okay, so you can do more on COVID in a minute, but the point is that the energy is going to shift. And if you're stuck, it's going to be worse for you because you're choosing to be stuck, when last year was, here is everything that you need to know about moving forward in your life. Face your karma. And for people who've already done that, it's like, well, didn't I do this already? Like in 1969? It's like, yes, but these are the dust buddies. When we spend 2,000 years in programming, you can be conscious of things that it affected you, on how it affected you, but very unconscious of how innate it is. As in, big example for that, for women last year, one of the biggest issues that pretty much everybody was facing is the Piscean concept, leftover stuff that is so well programmed that in the Piscean age, we took responsibility for things that weren't our responsibility just to make peace, which meant that we also then got to be hypersensitive about, did we do enough? Did we do the right thing? What else do we need to do in order to make everything okay? So last year, for women that are standing in their own power and they're doing what they need to do, they all had, pretty much every client that I had this little leftover that was like, did I do enough? Did I make enough money? Did I do enough with my man? Did I do enough with my job, with my kids? It's like, yes, everybody, yes. But that was the thing that was coming up. And then we all had our individual karmic themes, but that was a thing that you don't think of because it's so innate.
Yeah.
So
it's so deep. It's so deep in many of us. Yes.
Yeah. So men were facing the same thing. They're still facing it because we still have Mars retrograde, and that's like beating the crap out of them. But it's like, get with the program, people. The thing here is that the more that you go with the flow this year, seriously go with the flow and don't try to fight it, and think of it as not an adversary, but as a path.
So blessing, maybe open up another door that has a better, opportunity. That's what I look at, how I look at it.
Yeah. But people look at it as like, I want to do this and this and this. This is in my way. It's like, if I can't do this, I just spoke with a healer. And she was talking about how, if we get together and we do a session, then, that'll work out. And if it doesn't work out, then that's fine, because she'd had somebody who she was going to do a session for, and the day of, they got sick. So it wasn't the right time. The next time that they had scheduled it, her son had an emergency at school, so she had to go. And the healer is looking at it as, yes, this is the right timing. The right timing will present itself. And if it's not the right timing, there will be things that are in the way that stop it from happening.
Exactly.
So this is the energy of going into this year. If things are in your way, it's making things better for you, not worse, but it's how you look at it. Everything this year is how you look at it, how you deal with it. If you think you've got to be in control, you're going to be screwed this entire year.
Perception, right? Yes.
Yeah, but that's what we've been learning for the last 3 years. As soon as we got into COVID, into isolation, it's like, look at yourself, look at your family, look at what you need to take care of for yourself. That's been it. And now,
so true. That's so true, because we're being, alone, shut down, and it's time for that self-reflection more and look at ourselves more.
Yeah. Now, when we get to, okay, the good news is that right before the Chinese New Year, Mars is going to go direct right before that. And then like the night before, Mercury is going to go direct. So that means we're not going to have any retrograde energy pushing us until the end of April. So we've got this relaxed time that's going to just feel like, there's nothing pushing me. What do I do with this? I don't know that. You're not going to understand how to behave, how to function, because we're now in 2023 energy, and people are going, I don't know what that means. And they don't, because we've been living in, again, I use this analogy a lot. If you've been living in A, B, C, and D always happens. And now we're in A, B, C, Q is the next letter, Z is the next letter, or a letter from another alphabet that you don't even know. That's what the energy is. It's not linear anymore. Aquarian age is not linear.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree.
Being able to go with the flow is, if I can say just nothing else about how to get through this year, it's go with the flow of everything. It's going to make a huge difference for you. And then we have energies. Okay, so when we get past the Chinese New Year, then we have this rest period. And I always talk about how, the last year has been like we're in a hurricane, and you don't do taxes during a hurricane. You don't expect yourself to do taxes. You don't expect yourself to solve this problem or solve that problem. You're in the hurricane, so you survive it. So when we get to the end of January, we're done with a hurricane. But then it's like anything where there's a trauma, there's the recovery period after. So basically between then and when the retrograde start, we've got other events, but retrograde start at the end of April, it's like a rest period to like recoup, get your feet underneath you again, because we're going to start this run on March 23rd that is going to be tremendous. And it's the big thing here. Okay, we got 2 events in March. One of them is Saturn moves out of Aquarius and into Pisces. This is going to be good and bad at the same time, because Saturn is structure, and Pisces is about spirituality and emotion. And spirituality and emotion doesn't like structure, but it gives us something to bounce off of what we don't want anymore in our spirituality, which basically means we will find a lot more people this year who are going to be turning to spirituality instead of religion, because religion is structure.
Yeah.
And it's been necessary for 2,000 years to give us that bump out of the age where we didn't believe anything into understanding the age of we understand higher power. Okay,
I
but
just
it was
feel like a
structured.
lot of people's gonna wake up, and that's what you said. We're turning away from religion and turning into much. Yeah.
Well, the difference between religion and spirituality. Religion is somebody had a revelation. Christ, Buddha, Muhammad had a revelation. You imitate them to get that revelation, but it's not your revelation. It's somebody else's that if you emulate them, you'll be like them, which is a good thing, but it isn't personal. And spirituality is you have that revelation with higher power yourself. You don't have a priest, you don't have an imam, you don't have anybody going between you and the higher power. And so you don't need the restriction of, we got to go to church, we got to say these words. And honestly, when the Catholic Church shifted their services from Latin into English, that was the beginning of, I'm not going to say their destruction, but that was the beginning of them not having as much power, and that their service has completed. And a lot of people who are holding on to that are going to like be pissed off that I'm saying that. But the service of all organized religion has been completed. And now we are in that transition of being able to understand spirituality, understand how that connects us to nature, to each other, to God, Christ, whatever.
Mhm.
This is how, but anyway, that's just part of what's going on here with the Saturn and moving into Pisces. But the big event again is Pluto is moving into Aquarius on the 23rd of March. This is huge. The last time Pluto made a move, it moved into Capricorn 15, 16 years ago. And that's when we had the market crash and the recession, because Capricorn is the earth-based. It's like the corporate-based system. So basically, while we're doing all these other changes in war, in medicine, and everything else, we had the corporate structure that gave us a surety, whether we liked it or not. It was sure. It was sure that it was in charge of everything. Okay. And that was the Capricorn thing. Plus we got that thing about lessons about money right off the bat, because we just blew that beforehand and we're still blowing it. Okay. But now going into Pluto in Aquarius, because Pluto is a transformational planet.
Yeah.
And this is what it's doing. And it's going to transform us. But in the sign of humanity, it's like now it brings everything back to humanity, which means that the corporate structure over the next 20 years it's going to start falling apart. It's already like reached a ceiling where it can't go any higher. It can't be. How can you have more billions than all the billions in the world? You know, it doesn't matter. Once you have $54 billion, if you get 55, does that really matter? What are you going to do with it? You probably don't know how to spend it that much, whatever. So we're at that ceiling point, and this year we get that turnover. And that's going to make a huge difference for the rest of the year, because that means there's that lightness of it is about humanity. So the corporate structure, the big, 1%, this is going to start falling apart. But the corporate structure in everything, not just in corporations that make money, but the medicine, everything that has to do with our health, not everything, but within the AMA, that is based on a corporate structure. It's not based on healing. It's based on a corporate structure about getting money. And so is the insurance company. And so basically our schools in one way or another. So the structure has, kind of like seeped its way into so much of our society, but this is the stuff that's going to be changing. We've already seen changes in school to a certain extent where, you get a lot of homeschooling or groups of people that want to homeschool and they're forming a different way of doing it, because the structure, the Piscean age structure, the Pluto and Capricorn structure has not really worked out well, because it goes for this much of a narrow individual. You got to believe this, you got to listen to this. Plus we got Aquarian age kids that are going on, I'm thinking out over here, I'm not thinking in this box. And so they get alienated. They're very sensitive. Long story on that, but these things are going to start shifting. Okay. And they start shifting on the 23rd of March. So we will feel, whether we feel it as a lift or a threat, we're still going to feel it. And it's very, very, very powerful. And again, it sets us up for the next, well, it's more than 20 years, because the way this works, this change is so profound, is that it moves into Aquarius for 3 months and then it moves back into Capricorn, which is like, here are some lessons, here are some lessons, here are some lessons. Now let's assimilate them for a while so you don't fry your brain. And then next year, we're going to get the majority of the year of Pluto in Aquarius, and it just moves back a little bit at the end of 2024. So it's like more lessons. Okay, you can assimilate a little bit. But it's about us being able to move forward in this new energy, and it is new energy. I say frequently, well, now that we're talking about 2023, that by the time we get to the end of this year, we will not recognize where we have been at the beginning of this year. It will be that different.
Totally. Yeah, I agree with that. My gosh, shifting so fast, so much.
It is. When you talk about how long it took us to get here, thousands of years to get here, you're talking 20 years, that's nothing. But when you're living it, it's something.
Yeah.
So the year is incredibly exciting. There are still lessons like the wars, because that's like leftover stuff. Piscean age, Putin mentality is old. And Zelensky comes in and he's got that Aquarian age. It's like, we the people of Ukraine, we're not going to put up with this. And they're not. And they're going to win. But this is, again, one of the things about the Piscean age is that we've been living in an opposite mentality. It's like yes versus no, good versus evil. It's not like there can be anything in between. And that kind of, in a war or in like conflict mentality, has made it very easy for conflict to happen. But Aquarian age is about if everything is equal and everybody's communicating and everybody is humanity and they're all part of humanity, then this energy of we got to be in opposition doesn't exist anymore. So what's going on with the war, even though it's still going on, and there are conflicts all over the place, but the big war in the Ukraine is something that is bringing forward how much Putin doesn't fit anymore, because he's still trying to like thread a needle with a sledgehammer.
I don't think he's going to be around so long. What do you think, Laurie?
No, I thought he was already going to be dead by now. I really did.
Yeah, I
I don't
just
think
have
his health is good, and if it wasn't that his health is going to take him, somebody was going to kill him. It's still a possibility. I don't know. I know that there are generals of his that are willing to start to continue the war, but it's going to be chaos over there in Russia. Basically, they set themselves up for chaos because everything that they're doing to try to control the Ukraine, they put all of their efforts into that. They're not taking care of their own people. So when Putin does die, then there's not going to be anybody that's making sure that people are okay, because they're going to go with Putin's dream, and Zelensky will run circles around them. It's going to be a stupid thing. But the Ukrainian war, no matter how long it goes on, because I thought it would already be over, just because I felt that energy of Putin dying.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's
I
going to
felt
be,
the same way too. Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I had the same feeling too.
I don't know if it's going to mean that Putin dies this year, but I wouldn't be at all surprised. I wouldn't be at all surprised any moment that I pick up the paper, not the paper, because I don't read the paper. It's like physical
internet.
paper. Internet,
Your
but
iPhone.
get a notice that's saying that Putin is dead. Okay, when Putin dies, they're not going to let anybody know. So Putin can be dead for 3 months and we don't know it. Because they did the same thing, with one of the leaders of Al Qaeda. I think that they kept pushing videos of him, but they were videos that he had done like 6 months before.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
but the deal here is, again, what's going to happen before the end of the year is we are all going to be so transformed, but it's happening moment by moment by moment that we're not really seeing it. When it's going step by step.
I feel the transformation for us is for those who are already walking on this spiritual journey, right? I mean, Laurie, this is not going to be flat across, affecting everybody.
It does affect everybody, but it's, again, not just how you take it, but like your soul age or your awareness. Because if you are aware that all of a sudden there's color, it's like, oh my God, I'm going to just throw myself into the rainbow. This is exciting. But if you are then being made aware that there's color when you've only been in black and white, and it scares the crap out of you, it gives you an opportunity to move forward. But these people, it's like, this isn't just for people who are enlightened. This is for everybody across the board. But again, as a personal choice of how you're going to deal with a year, if you are threatened by it, you're screwed.
Exactly.
Because the energy is not going to slow down. We are not slowing down for anything anymore. During the COVID and all that stuff, things were slowed down specifically for us to learn something.
It's still going fast to me though, even though like it slowed down, we got stuck at home. And I even mentioned to some of my friends and my family, like, I don't know why. I mean, I was home all the time because, I was sick, but it went so fast, Laurie. I just couldn't believe it's 3 years already.
I know. I get the same thing, but it's kind of like in December, it felt like it was 6 months long while we were going through December. January is going to feel the same thing. But it's actually, I mean, it's like, it's fast and slow at the same time. The Buddhist cone, everything is important and nothing is important. So it's that dichotomy that's going on. But but we will feel, and it's, again, the changes that are happening within us, to us, in concept, in mindset, in physical reality, are so incremental, still like leaps and bounds over where they were, but still incremental, that we're used to them. So by the time we get to the end of the year and we look back and it's like, oh, I didn't know I was that far away, as an example. And I've said this, that anybody who thinks that they are running for president now, Biden hasn't put it out there, but it's kind of expected. And of course, Trump, anybody who thinks, and DeSantis, they're not going to be on the ballot. And they will not be on the ballot before the end of this year.
Not going to happen.
And so how can we see that? How can we see that happening? Can't. What would stop Trump? What would stop Biden? Because all these things are expected based on the A, B, C, D comes next.
Oh,
and it's not going to be there. So that's just one example, but how we look at things. Now let's get to the money part of this year.
Yeah.
Because this is one of those big things. The big deal, one of the big deals about this shift when we get into Pluto and Aquarius is that how we perceive money is now different. Money is energy that flows. It is not something you grab, you hold on to, you own. Like you can't grab water in a river and make it stop flowing.
Right.
So if you deal with money this year in investing in anything that you deal with, in the old concept of it's about control, it's about I want more and I'm going to get more and I'm going to buy this and this is going to go well, you're screwed. Because the lesson is go with the flow, even with money, even with investing. But if you do anything that is that Piscean age in the box lines and squares logic, like the market, which is not logical at all, but it's tradition. If you do that, or even go into the new Bitcoin or the electronic money stuff, don't touch that. This is not the time to do that shit. Because that stuff is falling apart. Because, you know, there are a lot of people, there are a lot of astrologers that say this is the wave of the future. And I'm going, no, it's not. I don't think it is. What I think the wave of the future is we can use it, but they're using an Aquarian age concept of through the airwaves to promote a Piscean age concept of I have more money than you do. And so these things will not work. It's conceptual money. It's not physical, real money. And until we get where we can think in concepts all the way across the board, then that's not going to work. But also, if you do investing in the market the way it normally has been, thinking that you can not necessarily control, but to play the market the way you used to, no. Real estate, what you expect, no. Nothing.
Real estate's going to go bad, I think. Yeah.
Well, I think it's going to be so erratic that you can't really tell. Investing, it's like, you know, I understand people are going to do that no matter what I say, but just this is not the year for that. If you want to lose money, sure, invest. If you want to have headaches, sure, invest. And I know people believe in that. It's like, I can't have retirement unless I invest now. It's like, what happens to you're okay? You're going to be okay no matter what.
Fear.
No,
fear.
don't believe that. Yeah, fear. Exactly. Sorry. No, I don't like my shirt. Okay.
Yeah, definitely fear is a big factor, you know, because that's why they keep trying to invest for retirement, but then retirement seemed to be less and less and less and less for them.
But they didn't learn anything from 2008. When we had the market crash, what happened is that everybody who did the right thing, this is Perry's tail. You want to say hello, Perry?
You guys say hello to her. Look at that. She always get in her way when every time you get in front of camera. Yeah.
And the tail is so soft, but it does leave debris. Thank you, Perry. But in 2008, what happened was all these men, specifically men, did everything right according to what society told them to do. They made the right investment. They got the right job. They married the right person. They had the right house. They had the right number of kids. They did everything right. And they bought property because that was what you were doing. And that's my parents were in real estate when they retired. They got into real estate because it was a thing in their life, growing up, having been taught by people who survived the Great Depression, that you own real estate. You have to own property in some way or another.
Right.
That was a big deal. And yet everybody who did that, they lost everything.
Wow. Yeah.
So you're saying that, you know, okay, let's do the rhythm of investing the way we used to do, and we'll get where we need to be. And it's not that we're going to have another market crash or we're going to have another recession. It just isn't going to work. And it's not going to work on a daily basis to kind of get people to wake up and smell the coffee. So it's just, you know, I can't even say play at your own risk. Go to Vegas. You got better ops of going to Vegas and getting more money than you do of doing in the investing in real estate and anything this year. And I know there are people that are really in that. Pardon me?
Yeah, they said that might be true. A friend of mine went to Las Vegas twice and she won a couple grand each time. And she never done it. That's a 2 times in her life, and she won a couple times and she came back. I was like, how did you do that?
My godson is lucky like nobody's business.
Wow.
The first time he went to Vegas, he won $80,000.
You kidding me?
Every time he goes to Vegas, he wins money, and I give him money, but the stuff that I give him that his mother gives him doesn't work. The stuff that he plays, every single time.
It
He
only
can't,
for
and
him.
he's smart. It's not that he's not smart, or he's not that, this is just by
Yeah.
chance. It's just that he is really smart, so he knows what games to play, but also he's really lucky when it comes to that. He should just,
Some,
be a,
some people just
play
have that.
professional. Yeah, I'm a professional slot player, whatever.
Yeah, go with that. And you're right with that, because a lot of people now just wanted to invest into properties, real estate. And I've seen actually some people who actually they're trying to turn around and sell the properties and they couldn't sell it, Laurie.
Yeah, yeah,
And they couldn't rent it out because renting is very expensive for them anyway.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
now they
because
get stuck with the homes that they just bought and they couldn't turn around and sell it.
yeah, and it's like, didn't you learn anything from 2008? When things are fluctuating, don't play by the old rules, because the old rules aren't going to help you. And the old rules are like really old now. They're not going to come back. The way the market works, the way investing works, the way banks work, the way modern finances work, none of that stuff is going to be coming back because the mindset shifts. If money is energy that flows and it's not something that you can grab and hold on to and feel important with, then how we think about it is very, very different. This is something that will be introduced to us this year, although we've been introduced to it before, but not in as grand a scale as we're going to get this year.
Exactly. Wow. I totally believe that. Go with the flow. And that's what I get too. And actually, since COVID, I have been going with the flow this whole time, this whole past few years. And
Well,
it's
you
been
got smacked in the head with that.
oh, maybe that's why I got really for those of you who don't know, I got really bad COVID Delta 2020, and I was in a hospital for three weeks, almost died. And it took me a couple of years to really get back into my health, and still, I mean, I'm not 100%, but I would say about 95% recovered. I have to say that. But of course, there were some damages after that. They found out I have some old hemorrhage in my brain. Of course, that's why I'm getting COVID back in 2020. But I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But it just taught me really to slow down, to really go with the flow. And I have been going with the flow. And things have actually last couple of years been going great for me. I have to say that, so I just kind of like, okay, whatever, go with flow. Doesn't work out, that's fine.
Yeah.
And I just go with my intuition, trust my intuition. And it's just been great. And that's what I told you. I thought, my God, time just flew so fast.
Yeah.
And it's like I didn't do much, but it seemed like I've learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about things around me. So that's a good advice, Laurie. For the audience who listen to that, to what you just said, go with the flow.
Yeah. It's the
Right?
name of the game this year. It's what gets us through this year, because going with the flow and trying to make the flow happen, no, doesn't work. It's never going to work again.
Yeah.
We're not in that energy. It is about not that we're wrong, but we're being shifted. How we think is being shifted. And we came here specifically to be part of that, because that's like tremendous energy. It's a tremendous positivity and moving forward. But people who are afraid don't want anything to change, because then they don't feel they have control. Let go of the control. Key thing is, this is also a 7-year. So it's, 2020.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. 2020, 2023. Yeah.
Yeah. So 7-year. 7 is the number that the planet vibrates at. So this is our home vibration, which is really, really cool. But that also means to get through this year, the best way possible is, well, 3 things. One is go with the flow and everything. But if you're going with nature, you're going with the flow. But also trust your intuition. And there's a third one, and I had it right there, and it's not there. I'll get it back. But it's kind of like go with the flow, trust your intuition, and it will present itself to you in a different way than you're thinking, but we don't understand it. It's kind of like when we go through trauma.
Yeah.
We might not understand any of it, the purpose of it, or what it changed in us until after the fact, and we look back. So we've been going through change. Yeah.
I love what you just said, that Laurie, and because so many people have challenges, especially right now. Yeah. And what we have gone through, all those challenges I've gone through, I now don't see it as challenges anymore. Or if I ever have some challenge come up, I will see it different now. I will see it as a new door that I just have to go with the flow with it. and a new door, much better door will open up for me,
Yeah.
which is true. Each time in my life when I have this, like rock bottom challenges, and it just kept going for many years, well, there's a beautiful door that's opened up another path for me, different from where I was before, but much better, much better. And I learned about myself more too. Yeah.
But you have to trust that there's going to be something when you don't see it yet.
Yeah. It's hard though for a lot of people to trust that, Laurie.
Yeah, it is.
That's why, and if you guys want to learn how to trust yourself, listen, Laurie is a teacher. I didn't get to bring that up earlier. Hello there. So she has been teaching tarot and magic work through Zoom. So it doesn't matter where you're at all around the world. You can take classes with her. So Laurie, you're going to have to talk about your class a little bit too, so people know what are you offering right now.
Right now, I haven't started it yet, but I'm gathering whether I have enough people to start a spell working class. It's a 6-week class that will go over. There is timing with spell working. There is saying the right words. There's using the right tools. There's how to put it together. There's how to promote it. The most successful spell that I ever did, it took me several weeks to put everything together. It took me 4 hours to perform. The spell lasted actively with 7-day candles, not for 7 days because they never last that long, but for 5 days. And once that was complete, it never wavered. I did the spell for the guy that I was with at his request, because you don't do it without somebody needing it. And it was because of our finances that this was for me too. But I did the spell for him to have consistent work. And at the end of first year to be in the union. He's in the, he built sets for a living. So the union for that. And he has never, and up until, he died last year, but up until that time, he was never without work. He got finished with one job. Before he got home, when he was driving home, he had 3 to 6 people calling him for the next job.
Wow.
And the only time he was without work is when he disrespected the spell, when he got off a job and he'd been working solidly for 6 months. He says, I want to take a break. And he had these 3 people call him and he turned them all down and he didn't get work for months. It's like, don't ask for something and then disrespect it when you get it. But anyway, the way that I did that is what I want to teach, because it did have to do with the right color of the candles, the right scent, the right time of the day, the right time of year, the right time with what moon was it, what day was it, what time was it on that day, all that stuff. If you really want something, because if you just light a candle and say, I'll call money to me, here's a green candle. I want a yellow candle for fast luck and a green candle for money. How much energy are you actually putting into it? It's like you're expecting that to do all the energy. It's like, angels, bring me somebody who loves me. It's like, I don't put any energy into it. I'm not changing who I am. I'm not shifting anything. I'm just saying, you do the work. It's like, no, that doesn't work. What you put into something is what you get back. And that's what this class would be. It's 6 weeks about that. I haven't set a date for that yet. I've got the final class of the tarot class that I was teaching last year, which was tarot from the beginning, the basics of that. That's coming up this week because we had to delay it because of the holidays. But I haven't put that forward yet. So right now, those are the only 2 that I've been working on, because a lot of stuff that I want to do, like with psychic development, you kind of have to be in the same room with somebody.
Yeah.
It's like, there's the experiment of being able to test your psychic ability first by becoming physically more sensitive. And we do that by humming. I might probably talked about this before. And so you hum between your hands and then you hum at somebody else and let them see if they can feel it. You can't do that through a computer.
Yeah. That's tough sometimes with certain classes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, so that's so far. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do this year. I've got a past life divination deck that I've been working on for years. And I'd like to make this year the year that I finish it.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because I haven't seen any of them. Maybe they're out there.
I haven't,
too hard.
There's some past life card. I think there's only maybe 1 or 2 deck. I'm not sure. I think I have seen it before, but I'm sure when everyone does it, it's not the same,
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward for you to come out with that card. The
Thank
deck.
you. Yeah.
I mean, that would be awesome if you come out.
Me too. I'm looking forward to it too.
Get to it, man. Go with the flow. It happened. It happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. So you guys remember she, offered tarot class, but she hasn't set a date yet because she's finishing up the one that she just, taught last year. And then the spell class too. You can check with her at her website. So, well, let's continue on, Laurie. What else that you want to share with the audience? The March thing, the big energies that's coming in March this year, March and April. That's what you mentioned about Pluto. anything else that you see is coming, for the rest of
Well,
2000?
the rest of the year, I mean, there are astrological things that can tell you kind of what's going on,
Mhm.
but the way that humanity is going to react to it is going to be so different that I can't get too clear a picture on everything, because a lot of it depends on individual reaction. However, when we get through the summer, it's kind of like that's going to be the time, like July, August, and the beginning of September. That's going to be the time where people who are at odds are going to be really at odds. People who are really enlightened, and they're going to see the light, and it's going to be wonderful, and they're going to be uplifted, and summer is going to be a very lovely time. We're going to have, when we get back into the retrogrades, that's right before we start the first eclipse season, and eclipses are always showing us more about ourselves. They're like giving us a mirror here. So we're going to go through like a cleansing during the eclipse season. And
Right.
so July will do that. But then if you are in stuck energy and choosing to be in stuck energy, not just you're in stuck, but you're choosing to be there, July is going to beat the shit out of you. And then we get into August. August is interesting because every August we have more retrogrades than any other month. This August, it's not going to be any different. I think pretty much all but one planet is going to be retrograde at the same time. They don't like get together and do it all at the same time, but they overlap. So we're going to have pretty much a huge retrograde, which is like step back, look at yourself, bam, 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 pay attention. And again, it's a refining factor that if we're doing fine within ourselves, this is like seeing a new movie and knowing where our new purpose is, because that's what the retrogrades will do. Will make us look back and see where we want to go from here. And people who are stuck is like, don't tell me I can't do this. Don't tell me I can't do that. Don't. It's all going to be a negative. Okay. So that's going to be really difficult because that is something that shapes us. So we've got the eclipse season that begins before the retrograde, and then the eclipse season after that. So it's like, these are the two cleansing things that are going to happen. But then the rest of the year, I actually feel that this fall will be very uplifting again. I think there are going to be a lot of things that are going to happen that we just can't see. A lot of them in politics, a lot of them with money, just can't see it. Just can't. You can't until you get there.
Right. And we'll come back and talk about that more.
Yeah. Well, if you
And
look at,
say-
Chinese New Year starting off this year, and then it's about 6 months, maybe-ish to maybe 8 months until we get to the Jewish New Year. So that starts a different flow of energy too. So it's kind of like we've got the year divided here. And what we're talking about now is basically the first 6 months, because once we get after August, it literally is how everybody is participating in the world is going to make how we do the rest of the year fall into place.
Well, that's how prediction goes anyway. I think in nothing certain, right? Because things change it constantly too. It depends on the energy of everybody as well. So if more people wake up, more people stay positive, then, it goes quicker and things changes, for better. I'm sure that's what happened, right?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. Well, guys, if you would like to, take classes with Laurie, please do contact her. She's an amazing teacher. I took classes from her before. Amazing classes, especially tarot. She's very good. And yeah, I took some of your magic class too. I remember that long time ago. My gosh, many years ago. And she also does consultant, tarot work, for a lot of business people. So, go to her. She's very good. She's been reading. Laurie, you've been reading like what? How many years now?
Probably about 38.
Yeah. Wow, she got a lot of years under her belt, and she's really, really accurate. All right, guys. Anything would you like to leave it to the audience, Laurie?
Relax. If you
Short and
legitimately look at what we have control over, we don't. If you relax into knowing that you are being taken care of either by the hand of God or by angelic energy or whatever, which is what we're doing right now, and that you're not supposed to see the future, or you're not supposed to see where you're going to be going until you get there, because otherwise you get monkey mind, you think too much and stuff like that. So this is relax into, if you take it from the point of view that you have done nothing wrong, that you are exactly where you need to be, even if it's in a negative place, there's karmic stuff that you're paying off, or there is a reason for it that deals with other people. There's a reason for everything that's going on. And if we just relax into it and don't try to fight it, it makes this year so much better. It's like, don't stand in ego, stand in intuition.
Love that. Don't stand to the ego, but intuition.
Yeah.
That's the amazing Fabulous advice. Love that. Love that. Laurie,
Thank you.
thank you so much for, all the wisdom that you're sharing with the audience today. Always great to have you back on the talk. And I'm so glad to be back and doing this video again. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, the first one, Laurie's doing it.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know I was the first. This is
Yeah, you're the
exciting.
first one back. I mean, I've been doing my own talk in my language, which is in Thai, because I mentioned that I start teaching, and so I got a lot of Thai students, Thai followers on my
Very
on
nice.
my on my channel. But of course, I still love to interview all my Americans and English speaking, speakers and teachers and healer, on my channel. And with that said, you guys, thank you so much for following me on this channel. Please do not forget to share, subscribe, and like this video, and share Laurie and contact Laurie if you need her help. And also, if you want to take any classes, like I said, she's the one to go to. All right. Laurie, thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful, happy rabbit year, whatever your year is. Be happy, go with the flow, like she said, relax, and let everything comes to you nicely, right? Positively. Bye, Laurie. Take care.
Thank
Bye,
you.
you guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Until the next video. Yes.